Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to look at a tank that has never played, a tank that is not popular, no one plays it, and we're going to talk about why no one plays it. Now, of course, we are looking at the AMX CDC. This is a French medium tank. Now, those of you that know the Dracula, this came out after the Dracula, and because the Dracula was just so overpowered, people assumed this was going to be the same. They thought this was going to be very, very strong and basically a tier 8 version of the Dracula. However, it was actually a very, very poor tank. It was really, really bad. If you compare it to the Drac, this was so bad. Wargaming did make then a few changes to the tank that did make it better. And overall, it's not actually a bad tank. Of course, it's got no armor, but you don't expect to have armor on this thing. It's not about the armor. It is basically a tier 8 Dracula that's just not as good. So as you can see with the armor, 30 millimeters, that is all you have. So people will be switching to HE and they will be able to penetrate you with that HE. So if you do have the AMX CDC, and don't expect to bounce anything and expect to get a few HESH or HE shots into you. So your DPM is 2,294. Again, that is with running calibrated shells. Now your reload is actually very good at 5.89 seconds. It is pretty decent for that reload. Your penetration is 229 on your AP, 272 on your APCR, and 49 on your HE. You do only have a 225 alpha though. So of course you got a low reload, but you do have a low alpha as well. Only 190 on that APCR, so you don't want to be shooting the APCR that often. Now your HE is 270. Your aim time is pretty good at 2.8, the same as your gun dispersion at 0.308. You have a very nice 10 degrees of gun depression with, of course, a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So it's, again, it's a tier 8 Dracula, but French. Now, why does no one play it? Now, it's simple. It doesn't stand out. It's not a tank that stands out. It's not a tank that does come for sale that often either. So it's not a tank that you see in the stores. And even if it does go in the stores, it's not a tank that people rush to buy. Personally, I like the Dracula. I like the AMX CDC. I think it's not bad. I think it can be a fun tank, and mostly because of the low reload, your speed as well, your gun depression, you can still have a very fun battle in the tank. I'm not saying you're going to get the highest damage in the world, but you can still have a fun battle in this tank. And not just this tank, but most tanks that go 60 kilometers an hour that only has a 5-second reload, you can still have fun in it because you're constantly moving, you're constantly firing, and that just makes for a more fun battle. But yeah, it's one of those that has stayed at the moment as a premium tank. So if those of you that have the tank in your garage, unfortunately, you can't quite sell it yet because you're only going to get 1.5 million credits. So I can sense a lot of people have the tank. Honestly, I think a lot of people do have the tank because it's been out for years, but they're just never playing it. There are better mediums out there, but when it comes to fun, I still think you can have a lot of fun in this tank. Honestly, I enjoy playing the tank. Am I one of the only ones that enjoy playing this tank? Let me know in the comments below whether you are an AMX CDC fan. Now, again, if you do compare it to the Dracula, then yeah, you're going to be disappointed with it because the Drac is, you know, it has the speed, it has the acceleration, the DPM and the reload is kind of similar. But again, with the Drac, it has that auto track repair as well, which this doesn't have. This is a bit bigger than the Dracula as well. It's the bigger turret. It's just a bigger tank overall. And yeah, you are kind of like an easy target. So the way to, if you do have the tank and you do want to play the tank, then there is kind of certain ways that you should play the tank. And being front line, even against sort of the mediums, is probably not the best way to go. Now, obviously right now I am front line. I'm not pushing forward though, because I want to see where the enemy are. And I do have a little bit of cover behind, like literally a little bit, but I am going to get scared. I'm going to get scared very soon, and I am going to make my move because I'm looking at the defender. I know he's on a reload, so I think, you know what, I can get a few shots on him. Now sadly I do bounce, and then I see his teammates coming, the Skoda there, the TNH there, and I'm like, okay, this is my time to go. Luckily I do miss, he misses that shot against me, and I've got away untouched. Literally, I'm still full hit points. 3 tanks all around me, and I'm still full hit points. But now I know that there are 3 tanks all over there, at least 3 tanks all over there. I can then head to the left side where my heavies are, the majority of my tanks are, to support them against 3 tanks. So now we are now they are outnumbered. So if I would have stayed where I was, I think I would have just been torn apart with my armor. I would have definitely been torn apart. But I'm just going to wait for my team. This Carnarvon there, I'm happy that this guy's over here, the SMV, and I'm happy to leave him there and just carry on going with this Carnarvon because he's got great DPM, and I know he can do a bit of damage to me. I know he's got low alpha, but he can still be a very big nuisance to me. So he's now a one-shot. My defender does take him out, and before you know it, there is only 3 tanks left. So with me being full hit points, I can play a little bit more aggressive now and just try to get as much damage as I possibly can with this SMV. But of course my team are still supporting me, so anything can happen. So I don't want to just lose hit points for the fun of it. So I am backing up, waiting for him to shoot, and then sort of pushing forward, as you can see now. But now there's only 2 tanks left. I've got a little bit of cover. I can sort of start pushing towards him, and as you can see, I do get rid of him. So now it's a race against time. There's a Defender Mark 1. We are almost on 800 supremacy points. I want to get as much damage as I can, and secretly I'm hoping this T30 does not shoot him, because he's going to do a big amount of damage to that defender if he does shoot him. But now with me being full hit points, sadly he does get shot. He does get shot, but I'm just going to go in for the ram. I don't care. Bring him down to a one-shot, and I do manage to clear him. 3k damage, and I only lost a little bit of hit points there because I rammed. Like, if you would have seen the start of the game, knowing that there is tanks all around me, to get away from that and to finish, I'm going to say full hit points, because I only lost the hit points because I rammed myself. But yeah, it is a fun tank to play. I don't really know why people are not playing it, because you can have fun in the tank. Again, there are good medium tanks out there, but I still rate this. You know, I don't rate it at the top, but honestly, I do still rate this tank. And personally, I have fun in it. I have fun in it, but yeah, I don't know why it's not being played. Probably because it is very old and it doesn't come for sale often. And people did used to compare this to the Dracula, and they realized this is nowhere near as good as the Dracula, so I might as well just play the Dracula in tier 7. Let me know what you think of the AMX CDC. If you got the tank, why don't you play it? Because again, it's a tank you very, very rarely see in the battlefield. But for now, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.